So I've been running an ads agency now for just over 6 years, about 6.5 actually. Time flies when you're having fun. And I wanted to be super honest and real with you on what were some of the very best bits of this and what are some of the worst parts of running an ads agency. What's the stuff that drives an ads agency owner crazy? I think this is going to be helpful for firstly anybody who's looking at this as a career or maybe starting their own agency, but also for people working with an ads agency, because I think that it's easy to not be empathetic or just aware that there's this other organization that exists. Their entire existence is made to try to help you deliver on paid ads or maybe other forms of marketing. And of course, they do need to also make themselves profitable and a healthy business in that process as well. So there's lots that goes on with an ads agency and there's things that frustrates us, but there's also things that are spectacular about running an ads agency and have helped me to make an amazing life for myself. So I'm going to cover that today. I'm going to give you 3 of the bad stuff first and then go on to the good stuff. It's kind of like half of a shit sandwich. It's like an open-ended shit sandwich without a top, a low-carb shit sandwich. That's probably how we could best describe it.
Oh, interesting.
So let's start with the shit. Number 1, being fucking epic at ads is actually not good enough. It's not the only thing that matters. There is politics, sadly, even in this world. I remember about probably 5 years ago, that first year of running my agency, I was not good enough. The ads that we delivered for people, I don't think were up to scratch. They weren't at the standard that was going to be consistently delivering results and really exceptional results time and time again. And so we just needed to be better. So I paid lots of different consultants, and I still pay lots of different consultants to be training me every week in all of the different platforms that exist, like Meta, LinkedIn, and Google, etc., to be better and better and better. And I thought that if I could do that, then all of my problems would be solved. But that just is not the truth of it. The reality is that even if you crush it, clients will leave, all sorts of bad stuff happens as an ads agency. For example, one of our biggest clients we ever had, we brought them on with a 1 to 2 times return on ad spend is what they were seeing before. Other agencies had tried and failed working with them. And then we delivered them roughly around a 6 to 7 times ROAS. They were super happy. We were driving their business forward and we were on a performance-based system. So we started to make some really good fees for ourselves. And they then were very upset about this. The head of finance stepped in and said, no, this is crazy. And they chose to go with another very cheap agency. I did then see that new agency, which is actually quite well known, I won't say their name, but they did not do a good job. I could see in the results for a long time, and I can still see in one of their accounts, because they've chosen not to remove me from it, that they are not doing a good job. I can see that their ROAS has dropped off. And so while they might have saved a bit of money, it's loss for them in the long term. And of course, it was a loss for us too. So just because we were doing spectacular results, that is not all that matters. And I hate that, because if I do a great job for you, then fuck it. Everything else should be okay. And everyone should be a winner in that situation. But sadly, that's not the reality of an ads agency. So that's number 1. Being great at ads is not all that matters, sadly. The last thing I'll add on that is there's lots of agencies that aren't great at ads, but they're very good at all the other stuff. They're very good at selling. They're very good at managing clients. And so that is how they keep existing and actually grow to be very big. Number 2, scaling is tougher. So we are scaling, my agency is growing very nicely, but for sure, when you compare it to things like SaaS especially, and even e-commerce, it is harder to scale because it's more of a human-led profession. You're trying to bring in people and bring them to this exceptional standard of execution and have the team work in a way that works well together. And ultimately, the marketing of this kind of thing is really just spreading knowledge. That's the way I see it anyway. I think that's the cleanest way to do it. You can do it in much more ugly, aggressive ways with lots of like cold email and all this kind of stuff. But I have preference towards help others for free and educate people, help them, give them guidance on what to do. And in the end, people will find you and choose to go ahead with you because of all of the kind of, the good stuff you've given to the world, basically. That's my approach. But ultimately, this is a tough thing to build up. There's lots of ways to do it, but it is one of the harder parts of running an ads agency. Number 3, this is the most painful for me, to be honest. It is the lack lack of control. Paid advertising is just one little part of an overarching business. Even if you include also the fact that we can help companies with landing pages and with the creative or whatever, all of this stuff combined is still just marketing. And so marketing is, let's just say it's 30% of what a business is. And so that is still leaving, 50 to 90% of the business to the business owner that we're working with. And so sometimes we have these situations. So for example, the website just isn't up to scratch, or maybe their creative is just not up to scratch either. It's not up to the standards that we know you need to win in the game of advertising. And even if we can help them with the landing page, they choose not to work with us because they think that we're just trying to sell them into more services. And they don't bring anybody else in, and they just try and do it for the cheap. And so then this just means that we can never really deliver strong results because the creative's just weak. And of course, there are real business realities to cash flow especially. So there's lots of points when that lack of control is really painful for me working with clients. I want to just wring their necks to get them to do the thing that I know will help their business to thrive and grow and do everything that they're hoping it does. But now let's get on to the good stuff, all the happy, cheery, smiley stuff. I'm gonna start with number one. It is genuinely a joy to work the game of ads. I really still, after 6 years, I love working on paid ads campaigns. It's this really good, clean testing matrix. You get this really amazing quantity of data flowing through the system, obviously with a good amount of ads budget, which is why we ask for the amount that we do. And this then allows us to see all of this really interesting insights from all of these different tests and experiments that you're running. And you get to discover all of these different stories that have won or haven't won, that the customer is trying to respond to or not. And you really understand humans in a different way. You start to understand what triggers a human, what doesn't trigger a human. And I think over time, that's a really interesting game to play. And you're always learning. Even though, say for example, Google and Facebook are the two that we've done the most over the years, those two platforms, I still am learning every single month something new about them. There's some kind of little area within the interface. And of course, they're changing all the time. So this game of ads, I fucking love it, and I'm not gonna stop loving it. It's gonna be a skill that I'm gonna enjoy using for probably many, many years to come. Number two is it's a relatively ever-changing career or kind of profession, but also it's relatively timeless. It's of course changing all the time. Google is changing all the time. The algorithm that it uses, the types of campaigns it offers, Facebook and LinkedIn, exactly the same. LinkedIn just killed lookalike audiences. This is really interesting and fun, but also what's great about it is that ads are timeless. In terms of paid advertising, while things will change, while say ChatGPT may completely disrupt Google over the next 5 years ahead, it does not necessarily mean that paid advertising is going to go away. There's already discussions that ChatGPT may include paid advertising in some form, but my personal view of it is some form of paid media is going to exist for many, many years to come. And as a kind of collective, it's very solid. It's a bit like SEO. Even if Google is completely destroyed by ChatGPT somehow, it is not going to completely destroy SEO because SEO still exists in other platforms, not even just in Bing, but in, say, Amazon SEO, the optimization of search within Amazon. So there's always going to be other versions of paid media that you can move around to. So it's an amazing profession to be in that's relatively concrete for the long term and is going to be required in some form for the long term. Number three is it gives you an amazing life. So one part of that is that it's digitally nomadic, or you get to work remotely. I've literally been working this life for the last 8, 9, 10 years, actually way before anybody did it with COVID. I did it for my very first startup, working very hard, although technically we made no money, so really it was just me being jobless. But anyway, I have been working remotely for a very long time, and I made my agency like that too, and it allows me to live a really great lifestyle. I wake up very early, I work really good deep hours on my own, I then go to the gym for a couple of hours, and then I have afternoons of calls, talking to various clients, lots of good strategic stuff going on, and I really enjoy this lifestyle, and my agency allows for that. And the other, of course, important thing to say is you can make great money if you're working in paid ads. as long as you are spectacular at what you do, you will always struggle to like survive basically if you can't deliver ads that are profitable. But if you can, then this industry is great for you. And if you can make amazing money for other people, then you can make amazing money for yourself. It's a really powerful lever that we have. People like Noval Ravikant, I'm blanking on his name. He's not got an easy name. He says leverage is a really important part of making yourself rich. The way that we get that within our industry is the machine learning, etc., from Meta, from Google, from LinkedIn. And so this gives us amazing oomph to be able to create tons of value for businesses. And so then we're able to create a good salary for ourselves and also massive profitability for those businesses. So that's also why I like paid media above lots of other kinds of marketing channels. So there we have it. Those are the 3 reasons why I'm not such a fan sometimes of working in paid ads, and also why I love to work in paid ads. I'm not going anywhere. I love my agency, Snowball Creations. My team do amazing work. So if you need someone to look after your Google ads, LinkedIn ads, Meta, TikTok, etc., we love to work in paid media and we do a good job. Please do reach out if you're interested. And otherwise, subscribe if you want to follow my journey along in the world of paid media. I do a lot of other things as well around time management. I build software as well. If you like that kind of stuff, hit subscribe so I get to see you in the next one.